On June 3, 2017, I liberated myself from the burden of a secret kept for 40 years. Tomorrow, January 20th, 2021, I'll finally be free of the physical indicator that created confusion, doubt, and prevented me from truly believing in myself. Tomorrow, my mind and body will align as the woman I've always been. It is almost 6 o'clock and we are parked out front of Masada Hospital, where I'll be spending the next week because I am going in to have my surgery. So I'm very excited about it. It's something that I've wanted as long as I can remember, and finally the day has come that I can actually have it done.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Speak Easy with Eli and Zara. So it's been 4 months now since you went in for surgery, Miss Zara. How are you feeling?
Absolutely amazing. I am so grateful to have had the opportunity to have finally had surgery, a surgery which I have thought about all my life, but it has always seemed so surreal. It just didn't seem like something that was actually possible. I didn't realize that these surgeries took place. I'm realizing a dream, a lifelong dream.
So it really hit me when you said a lifelong dream. I mean, that's amazing.
I'm still kind of learning about what it means. So although I've dreamt of this for a long time, I didn't really understand the implications of it and how it would affect my life. So we're talking about a fairly major change to my anatomy.
It's going to be like a lifelong journey now to get used to and to adapt to like your new body.
Now when I see myself and how I feel about myself and how I feel within my body, it's affirmed my sense of self. I'm no longer conscious of this part of my body that was external and obvious and conflicting with my feminine spirit. Who I am now is congruent with how my physical body presents to the world.
Before surgery, we had a discussion around what you were looking forward to the most, what you were excited about, what you were nervous about, I guess what you were anticipating the surgery to be like. Did it live up to those kind of thoughts that we had beforehand?
No, it was not what I was expecting. It was better and worse. So there were elements that went smoother than what I was expecting. I expected a lot more pain and discomfort, and yes, there was a level of pain and there was a lot of discomfort, but the pain management was really good. The nurses and the care team just did such a great job of getting that right. I wasn't taking so much pain medication that I was out of it. I was alert, and in fact I did a little bit of work while I was in there.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah. But there were things that sort of I didn't know like how it would play out. So I had a board, and every day they would write on the board what was going to happen for the day, and I would have these lists of activities or what was going to happen to me that day. And so I was sort of kept in the loop, and that was good. When I came out of surgery, I was all bandaged up. I had packing and things inside to do whatever it does. and I wasn't allowed to sit up, I wasn't allowed to stand up.
Yeah.
I was on a low residue diet to begin with.
What does that mean?
Good question. I think what it meant was that I wouldn't need to go to the bathroom as much, or things would pass a lot easier.
So like a liquid diet?
Yeah. Well, no. I was eating like proper food, but at low residue, whatever that means. I think because I had the catheter and things in, so I couldn't go to the bathroom or anything. So that just, I guess, made my system work better.
Yeah.
And that in itself was such a weird thing to get used to. Like, I spent 3 days like without going to the bathroom because everything was doing it all for me.
Yeah.
And that was weird.
That sounds awful. Not awful.
What was awful was that to train your bladder, because you've had it open this whole time and it just does what it does, to train it so that you could get control over it again, they put a tap. So eventually when I was ready, when I was up and moving about, I got this tap on the end of a tube. And so when I felt my bladder filling and I needed to go to the bathroom, I would go to the bathroom and then I would have this tube with a tap that I would have to... And I said to the nurses, I've paid all this money to have this appendage removed, and now I've got this really weird, ugly appendage where I'm peeing through. But eventually that's out now, so... But all of those tubes and everything, like, you know, they had to remove them and they had to remove the packing and all of that. And so, you know, that was really weird sensation, stuff that, you know, I've never felt before. And having tubes pulled out of you from your stomach and from your vagina. It was all very new.
Yeah. It must be exciting though too.
It is, yeah, it is. It's so affirming, and you know, I have new anatomy, and it's got all new names, and you know, you use these. You're aware of vaginas and labias and clitoris and all these words, but until you start talking about your own, you know, it's a whole different dynamic.
Yeah, I bet.
I didn't really understand. I had a fair idea that this would be very affirming for me and that I would feel so much better about myself, but I didn't realize how complete I would feel and how at peace that I am with my body now, and how that peace then plays out in the rest of my life and the rest of all those areas of life, that I'm no longer consciously thinking about something that I want to hide, or that I'm ashamed of, or that is wrong with me. Now I just feel right.
I love that. So we've chatted a little bit about how you feel now after surgery. Do you want to take a step back and talk about the process of surgery and how you felt at the time?
Although there was lots of support from the nurses, the nurses were fantastic, but it was a very kind of lonely and it was a little bit scary at times. Like, you know, they would put up on my board what was about to happen, but I mean, sometimes that was scary. Packing removed, what does that mean? And what's going to happen? And, you know, and even bandages removed, and then I will see myself for the first time, and the anticipation of that, and there was a fair few nerves throughout the time, but I think one of the things that really made a huge difference was all the posts from my friends. So I was blogging each day, and that was actually really helpful for me to talk about how I was feeling. But what was even greater was the responses that I was getting from my friends, you know, commenting on, you know, just showing support and encouragement, and you know, I really felt like they were there with me, and it just didn't feel so alone. And that made such a huge difference.
I think that's a good reflection on our first interview when we were talking about upcoming surgery and being connected to community and how important that is.
One of the other good things too was, so when I went in for my surgery, there was another trans woman who went for her surgery. So I was in the morning, she was in the afternoon. We had the same surgery, and so we were going through the same recovery at the same time. And so when we were able to be up and about, we were able to visit each other and you know, go and sit outside together and have a bit of a chat and talk about how we were feeling, and that made a huge difference. Yeah, she was great to have in there with me.
So let's show our audience a little bit of your blogs from when you were in hospital, and give everyone a sneak peek of how you were feeling at the time.
Hi everyone. Well, I made it. Here I am back on the ward, and I'm all bandaged up and I can't move, but I'm being well taken care of, monitored regularly. I'm just waiting for some food. I'm so hungry. Yeah, can't wait to sort of see what's changed. I'm starting to get feeling back between my legs, and it just occurred to me that those feelings are not that of a penis. those feelings are of a vagina. And I'm so happy about it. It's the first day after my surgery and I'm feeling great. There was a slight little hiccup and they've had to change the dressing. So that was actually quite a bonus for me because it meant that I got the opportunity to see myself and the work that they've done. And I am very happy. So today is rest and recover day. So I'm here just doing a little bit of work on my laptop and just lazing around. This morning is Friday the 22nd and I've just had the team come in and check on me and they've written on my board stand 3 times and I'm allowed to put my bed up to 45 degrees. So it's a very good day. Here I am standing finally. I've been walking around my room. Today's been a really good day. I've had my dressings removed. I've had the tubes removed and my leg pumps removed. So now I can walk around freely. I finally got to go to the bathroom, so I'm feeling much better in my tummy. It is now Monday the 25th. Today's not as good as the other days. I didn't have as good a night's sleep. Feeling a little nauseous. Could be because I'm probably feeling a little anxious about what's happening today. They're taking out the inner packing and we are starting dilation. So it's a very important part of the process, but just feeling a little bit of anxiety. So that's where we're at. And this morning's little freak out was unnecessary. Everything went really well. I just built myself up a bit of anxiety, but as usual, the staff managed so well. So I've started my dilation, I've had my inner dressing out, I've started salt baths. None of that was as scary as I thought it was going to be. Well, here we are at the end of Monday. We've made it through. It's been a pretty full-on, exhausting and emotional day, but we're here, we survived. I think that I'm realising that we're moving to the next stage of this journey. We've survived the surgery and now it's moving on to maintaining this new part of my body. Realising that it's going to be very time-consuming and at the moment a little bit uncomfortable why there's so much swelling. Tuesday the 26th of January, last day before I go home. I go home tomorrow, so I'm very excited. The only things I've got to do today are dilation and salt baths. So I've had the catheter removed and I've already been to the bathroom, which is more exciting for me than probably for you, but there was a risk that incontinence would be part of this surgery. So having had a successful use of the bathroom this morning means that everything is going great.
We can see it's been quite a journey for you. There's been some highs, some lows, in-betweens. I know beforehand there was a lot of sort of red tape and boxes that you had to tick to go through to be able to have this process. Reflecting on now what you've been through, is there more understanding around why you had to go through all of this?
Yes, I guess the WPATH standards require you to tick all these boxes around your mental health before you go in for surgery. And at the time I was like, oh, I know what I want. This is a really silly pathway to have to go down, seeing all these people and spending all this money and time on it. Well, now I do understand why, because it was a huge emotional journey, and it still is. Now that I've had the surgery, I'm navigating entirely new anatomy. When I see myself and when I present myself to the world, I have, visually and physically new body.
What has been the most impacting, do you think? Or the emotional side of going through this, or the physical aspect of what you're now experiencing?
The two are a bit separated in that there's physical things that I need to do to maintain and care for my body. My new body requires a little bit of, physical care.
Yeah.
Which is also different to cis women too. So
Yes.
there's additional things, and there's no choice in that. To stay healthy, I have to continue to do the things that they suggest. But the emotional side of things, there's just been this huge positive impact. I'm so much more connected with myself. I'm happier. I'm prouder. I can wear what I want to wear and not have in the back of my mind, but what if somebody sees me differently, and because of the way my body is, I'm owning my identity more now too. So my femininity is able to flow freely without this like roadblock saying, there's this physical sign that says, but you can't be a woman because this says that you can't be. I don't have that now, so now I am just free to flow freely through the world.
I find it's kind of funny also because these things that have put such blockages on how we feel about ourselves, so things that most people aren't looking at. You're not walking around naked all day. I'm thinking about before I had my chest surgery, you wear binders and stuff, so it's not particularly obvious that there was anything there. It wasn't obvious to me that you had anything there. But like the way we change and how we feel about ourselves is it's hard to describe really, but it's just huge.
Yeah. But also there's a knowing about your body.
Yeah.
And there's kind of this, I guess I felt this like fakeness about it. I was tucking, like many trans women tuck, which is about hiding that part of your anatomy. And that process in itself to me felt like I was trying to trick the world. Whereas now I'm not tricking anything. I'm just being, and I am owning myself, my body, my presentation. It's all genuine.
Mm-hmm. No, I've seen huge changes in you since you've had surgery. I would never have known how much work there went into your vagina without you telling me. I've never looked into it.
After the surgery, there's a lot more maintenance required, and that
Yeah.
slowly tapers off. So things are getting easier. One of the things that was a little bit daunting and that I was a bit frightened about was dilation. And we did talk a little bit about that in our first video, but for those who didn't catch that video, dilation is the process of using a tool to maintain that body part to make sure that your body doesn't heal after surgery. I mean, I guess heal. That's the wrong word.
Well, close up.
Yeah, you say that nicely, right? So you start out with a dilate. Yeah, that's right. Well, because they've created this cavity, and so your body is trying to heal, and so it'll get less and less unless you maintain it. So they give you a set of dilators.
I had a visual, sorry.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't of your vagina.
I hope my vagina doesn't give people that reaction.
Sidetrack. People that get their tongues split have snake tongues? Have you never heard of this?
I have, but I'm wondering where this is going.
It's related. They have to brush the inside constantly, or else the tongue will heal back together. That's just what it made me think of.
Okay, I don't have to brush the inside.
No, but you
I
have
just
to
have to
stretch
dilate.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's maintenance. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there's definitely maintenance, and that it's not easy. It's uncomfortable. There's nothing good about it really, other than it's affirming as you go along the process. So you start with small dilators, and you have to work up to there's 3 stages, and once you get to the 3rd stage, then it's more like, I guess, being in a position where that you may be able to have penetrative sex, or you can use toys and things like that. So to start with, it's just too painful, and you're dealing with tissue healing and stuff like that.
I imagine once it's healed and you've gone through that process, though, you'll be able to utilize it without pain.
That's the goal.
The motivation behind your new vagina, obviously, is to make yourself feel good and whole and amazing, and it might not necessarily be that you're then wanting to use it for sexual pleasure, but you can if you want to, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So now that you've kind of moving through the healing stage, I know that you've been thinking about the sexy stage. Is there anything you'd like to share or explore with us? About your vagina and sex.
Okay, so my vagina and sex. What does that mean? I don't know. I'm exploring. Like, I've just got this new anatomy. And you said earlier about separating the physical and the emotional part of it. And I guess that comes to sexuality too, because I've always identified as heterosexual because I've been seen as a male and I've been attracted to females. I've always sort of been curious about being with a guy, but I haven't met a guy that I've wanted to explore that with. But now that I identify as a female and I have a vagina, and I'm attracted to women, I guess I could identify as a lesbian. But I also am open to the idea of meeting, people that...
What's the word open? Sorry.
So now that I have this new body, I have the opportunity to explore sexuality in a very different way. And I am very curious. I'm curious about all kinds of things.
I am too.
Yeah. I've just got to find the right person, because it's also very scary for me. It'll come down to finding somebody that I feel safe with, that I feel comfortable with, and that I want to explore these kinds of things with. And so my sexuality is completely open to whoever that person might be. And then I'll, I guess, realize what label I want to put on my sexuality.
Or you don't have to.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. Could be you. Could be you. Could be you. Who knows?
But I'm really curious about orgasms after surgery. I know, just trans orgasms in general, it's fascinating what, I know that everything changed for me post-hormones. I'm thinking, what's changed post-surgery?
Well, I mean, orgasms are completely different, I guess. And I'm under pressure. I'm under pressure to orgasm. When I go and see my surgeon, they keep asking me, so have you orgasmed yet? I'm like, no, sorry. And I guess they want to know that what they've done has worked properly.
Because they would be wanting to test that everything's getting sensation back and nerve endings and all those kind of things. Yeah.
Well, when they asked me the first time, I was like, I don't even want to touch anything down there. It's still too early, and everything's sore, and there's orgasms are the last thing on my mind.
Yeah.
But then things started to heal, and things started to change for me, and then I moved into, well, why aren't I orgasming, and why don't I have that kind of feeling? And so my next appointment with the surgeon, they sort of did some stuff around sensitivity and were checking for sensitivity, and I didn't have any, and that was really scary. I thought, oh my God, maybe I'm never going to be able to orgasm. Maybe I'm never going to be able to have sensation in that area. And it was quite challenging to realize that. But they said, don't stress. Sometimes it takes a bit more time, and apparently the nerve endings, start from the top and they work their way down. So I am happy to report that I do have feeling there now. So everyone can just breathe. It's fine. Relax, Zara.
No, it is. That sounds like that was a really scary moment.
It was, yeah.
Does it work like a biological vagina? Is that what we'll describe a man-made and biological? Not man-made. What's the
It's
word?
called a neo-vigina.
Neo-vagina and a birth vagina. Does it work the same? Does it work the same that, like, stimulating the clitoris is what causes an orgasm?
You're showing my inexperience in this space. One of my good friends who sells pure romance products is getting that sensation and stimulating sensation in the clitoris. So they have some equipment, toys, whatever you want to call it, to be able to do that. So I think that's been helpful.
Yeah. That would be the area I focus on if I was you. I'm like, you can, this is sidetracking, sorry. As a person who owns a vagina, you can bang away all day at penetration. That's not going to do anything. But you stimulate the clitoris, there you go.
Yeah, well, that's sage advice, thank you. If anyone else is watching and has some advice, feel free to pop it in the comments.
So after your surgery, I was surprised and shocked and amazed at how much you just bounced back to yourself and then better. But what did the doctors think of that? Were they also surprised and amazed?
Well, actually, my surgeon was telling me that I couldn't do all these things. I couldn't exercise. I wasn't allowed to work and all those sorts of things. And he did get a little bit upset with me. Well, he came in the first day after my surgery, and he came in and I had the laptop open and I was doing a bit of work. And he said to me, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm just doing a little bit of work." And he said, "No, you can't work. You need to rest and recover." And I said, "But I'm a video editor, so, you know, it's no different to watching TV." And he just shook his head and walked out.
I think we should make note for our audience. You're the kind of person that will never rest. I feel like you won't rest until you're dead. We'll have to pin you down and be like, "Stop, rest."
Yeah, well, look, it was hard to lay there and do nothing. But again, it came back to also all those things, all the weight of the surgery and all of that stuff. It was easier for me to navigate that if I kept myself busy.
Yeah.
If I had things to do, if I could distract myself from just laying there and feeling pain and feeling uncomfortable, that was helpful for me.
Yeah.
But also I think that all that work that I did pre-surgery really helped with my recovery afterwards. You know, my body was in the fittest shape it's ever been in my life. And so, you know, they said that I couldn't exercise and things like that. And I'm visualizing, like, when they talked about my recovery, I thought that I would be like crawling from the bedroom to the bathroom to be able to go to the toilet and, you know, being in all this pain and having people, you know, having to serve me food.
Yeah.
I got home and I was moving around. I was able to walk around. I couldn't stand for a long time. Sitting was uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, you know, I was very aware that my body was in recovery. I couldn't lift anything. Like, as soon as I put any strain, as soon as I used my core, I felt pain and I felt discomfort. And also if I ignored that, like, I know that we had a clothing swap that we attended, and it was probably before I should have been doing what I was doing. And I moved some boxes around, and the next day I was in a heap of pain. I was bleeding, and, you know, it was my body saying, "Too much, Zara. You need to stop again."
I did say that when I saw the lift boxes. I was just saying. I was like, "Don't you lift that box?" She did. I had more fears than you did.
What were you fearing?
I was all like, "Oh," you were kind of like, "Oh, it's going to be fine." I'm like, "Oh, I don't know about that." But then it was, and you were doing so many things so quickly that I was like, "Oh, don't do that." And then you were like, "No, I'm fine."
It's not the same for everybody. I have a friend who's going through some really tough times after surgery, and, you know, so I really feel for her. And you know, it's so important to realize that everybody's journey is unique. And you know, I was very fortunate, and I'm very grateful for that. But not everybody has it so easy.
How many months now are you post-surgery?
Just over 4 months.
So you're just over 4 months post-surgery. I guess where to now? How are you feeling now, and where do you see yourself?
The next stage of my journey is about understanding my body now, understanding who I am, and having that freedom to just now be at peace and get used to that peace and get used to all these new connections that are happening within me, within my mind and my soul and my body. They were all so disconnected for so many years, and now they're finally all aligned. How does that make me feel? And what does that mean for me? And so
it's such a long time fighting to be who you are, and now you're there, and then it's kind of like, now where?
I guess it's like retirement. What do I do now? Now I get to finally live.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a really good question, and I should have an answer for it, but I just don't know what that answer is yet.
I think that's okay. And I think that's a good answer, that you don't know what that answer is yet. Because it's like you're still discovering yourself. There's going to be more to come.
Yeah.
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 It's Zara, vagina. What next?
Stay tuned.
Thank you for watching Speak Easy for LGBTI. Tune in next week for more community content, interview, and our fabulous faces.
Well, here we are back out the front of Masada Hospital. It's been a whole week. It's been a big week, but the care staff here have been absolutely amazing, and we made it through, and I'm so excited to be going home. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for all your encouragement and support, not just through this week, but through my whole journey. So I love you all so much, and really appreciate it. Love you all.